Good morning, everyone. I am Arun Mishra, and I'm a second year PhD student at Caltech University. And today I will be speaking about the spatial and temporal distribution of microplastics, the Gulf of Finland. So these are my team members, and my supervisors are Dr. Garmo Valley and Dr. Tabit Leblik. So this is our study area. So during the monitoring cruise from 2016 to 2020, we visited over 10 sampling stations. So then to better understand the Gulf of Finland region, we divided the Gulf of Finland into basically 3 different regions. As you can see in the sub-map, like there are 6 stations in the western part of the Gulf of Finland, 1 in the central and 3 in the eastern part. And the samples were collected only from the sea level surface, means only in the upper layer, and we used Manta troll for our sample, and we had a mesh size of 330 microns. So these were the main results, what we got. And if you see year-wise, we have like all these concentration which are given in the table, they are the mean concentrations, and you can see every year how the concentration changes. So what we see from this table is like mainly from the year 2016 to 2020, concentrations was generally more higher in comparison to 2019 and 2020. Now this is another explanation of the results. So these are our stations, and accordingly how microplastics varies between these stations, these are the details. But one of the very important point to note here is that not all stations were visited every year. The highlighted part in the green, they were visited only once in a year. So this is the important part here. Now we got, now let's talk about the microplastic morphology. So here we only distinguish into 2 shape classes. One was MP fibers, which is microplastic fibers, and all other non-fiber parts. For instance, we found very small pieces of fragments, films, granules. That is why all other particles we categorize them as MP fragments. So we all know that microplastics are generally from 1 to 5 mm, but as we use the mesh size of 330 microns, so in our study, and the range of the microplastics, we kept it from 0.3 to 0.9 mm and from 1 to 5 mm. And from this figure, you can see the share of microplastics, fibers, and fragments. So if you see the yellow part is the fibers part and the blue part is the fragment parts. So we can easily understand, like in 2016 and 2020, the fibers means the share was quite higher in comparison to other years. And what we found was that about 73% we got from 0.3 to 0.9 mm, and 27% was greater than 1 mm. Now we also found microplastics which had colors. So this is the overall figure which tells us what we found. And we can see that the most of the colors which we found was gray, white, and blue in color. But the fibers specifically what we got, they were generally gray and blue in color, and the fragments which we got was generally white and blue in color. Now that was the whole discussion about the results what we got. Now let's talk about how spatially it is distributed. So here in the 6-figure panel, it tells what we did is like for each year we calculate the mean microplastics of that particular stations. So the first figure in the 6-figure panel tells us means the stations which were visited, and for each station the average was calculated. Similarly, it was done for all the other years. And the last figure in the 6-figure panel is the arithmetic mean of all the sampling station which was here during the 5 years. So and from the figure we can see like the microplastics was spatially distributed. And in the last few figures I showed you like how in the year wise the microplastic changed. So we can tell here like there was a significant difference in the temporal variation, and we did the ANOVA test to confirm that. Now we talked about the total microplastics, but now the question arises like which part of the Gulf of Finland region we have more microplastics. So here the Bose-Quisker plot tells us that we found more microplastics, the total microplastics in the Gulf of Finland West region in comparison to other 2 regions. Now we did the same spatial distribution, but this time it was for microplastic fibers, and the explanations remain the same, but here we calculated the mean for the MP fibers. Now the thing is like how it varies according like in 3 different regions. So what we found was that we found more fibers in the central part of the Gulf of Finland, which was station 14, which is the offshore station. We found more fibers there in comparison to the coastal stations, which is like Gulf of Finland West and Gulf of Finland East. Now again, we did the same spatial distribution for MP fragments. Again, the same explanation, so I will not go much into it. And now, unlike fibers, what we saw was that MP fragments was more in the coastal station than in the offshore station. And this we can see from the Bosco-Scott plot again. So until now, we have discussed about the spatial and temporal distribution, but we also thought to check if there is any seasonal change between the microplastics. So what we did is that our entire 5 years data, we bifurcated it into 4 different seasons. As you can see, we had spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So we found there were seasonal changes. And you can see like winter, there was only one sampling which was done in station 14. Now how this seasonal variation changes for different regions. So here what we are seeing is that we generally found more values, like the concentration was quite higher in the autumn and winter parts in comparison to spring parts. So here I would like to tell you one thing, like in total in 5 years in the Gulf of Finland region, we had total 78 samplings. Out of them, 50 sampling happened in the spring season. So that is the reason, in order to statistically say that there was seasonal difference, what we did, we only took into consideration summer, autumn, and winter to statistically say that yes, there is any seasonal difference. And that is what we did, and the ANOVA test to prove that. Now, until now, we have discussed about the spatial, temporal, and seasonal difference. But now, the question comes like why microplastic is higher at one station or why it is low at one station. Like what are the environmental factors driving it? Are there any, is it related to river discharge or is it related to something, ocean process? So in order to do that, what we did is that first we tried to relate the microplastic with wind speed. And this wind speed data we took from the ERA 5. These are model outputs. And so for further analysis, we took 2 stations. One is station 14, which is the offshore station, and station N8, which is the coastal station, which is located near Narva. So from the left side, if you see station 14, the correlation between wind speed was quite ideal, meaning here, like what with the increase of wind speed, generally the microplastic concentration decreases. Meaning that in the offshore area, what happens is like if there is more wind, then there is more vertical mixing, meaning there will be low microplastic in the upper layer of the water. So that is what we found. And the R-square values was quite good enough to state like it is related. But now when we come to the coastal station, here what we are seeing is that like here the relation is not ideal. So here we cannot statistically say that microplastic is directly related to the wind speed. And if you see the R-square value, it is extremely less. So here, so the output from this figure is that the wind speed is related with the microplastics only for the offshore areas. So now we tried to correlate with the wind speed for station N8 and 14, but for N8 we could not found. So we went into more analysis. So what we did is that for station N8, what we did, like we had in total, for 5 years, we had total 13 samplings in station N8. So what we did is that we took test cases now. So high concentration, we took 4 values from the top, and for low concentration, we took 4 concentration from below. And then we wanted to know, okay, why the concentration are high and why the concentrations are low. So these were the test cases. So now, before jumping into this figure, I would like to tell you a few things here. Like what we are thinking is that, means our hypothesis is microplastic is coming from land to the sea. And how it is coming, basically it is coming through river discharge. So at station N8, we took Narva River discharge into consideration, and exactly on that sample date, we saw that the riverine discharge value was quite higher. So basically what happens is that the fresh water usually have low salinity, which everyone will agree. So what happens is, so our theory is that if the salinity is less, meaning the microplastics will be more. And when the salinity is, means the fresh water is spreaded means with the open sea water, that time the salinity will be more, meaning microplastics can get transported. So now let's jump onto this figure. So basically these are model outputs again, but this time we use the output from GETM model. So on the left hand side, as I told you, like we made our test cases. So these are +4 high cases which we took, and in the right side it was low concentration. So if you see the figure, Yeah, if you see this figure, then you can see at this station, like the concentration here, means if you see the color bar also, it is quite easily understood. Like here, the freshwater influence is there, meaning it has not spread at that station, meaning the salinity was quite low. So here we understand that okay, if the salinity was low, meaning microplastics gets basically trapped here in this case, and it is also very nicely visible in this case also. Like it is quite blue, meaning it has less salinity. But high case it is easy to understand. But in low case, what happens? So here, if you see, the salinity content is quite high, meaning the fresh water which is coming, it has already mixed with the open water. So when it gets mixed, microplastic can get transported into any direction. It can get vertically distributed. So if you see this, then it is a very nice discharge which we can see in the model outputs. So here we understand that, okay, that is the reason we have low concentration at this place. So if you see the entire low concentration, the salinity level was quite high. And this is how we come to conclusion, like even the salinity is high, fresh water has already spread, and that is the reason we have low concentration. So this was all about the coastal stations. Now let's talk about the station 14, which was the offshore station. So here again, we saw like wind speed was directly related, but we also wanted to see what is the effect of salinity here. So again, we did the same thing. We took another test cases, but here we took another +4, means with the highest concentration, we took 4 cases, and for low concentration, we took 3 cases again, but 3 this time. So again, if you see the effect of salinity, if you see again the same theory of the fresh water, if you see here, the high concentration part, the salinity was quite less, meaning the fresh water has not spreaded with the open sea, and that is the reason microplastics can potentially get trapped. And if you see all 4 figures, then it is easily understood the salinity concentration was extremely low for the high concentration case. But for the low concentration case, if you see the magnitude of salinity in both the figures, it is very high generally, meaning that microplastics can get transported over here. So that is how we come to know, okay, we have low concentrations in here. But again, if you can ask me questions like here, salinity concentration is still low, but again, how can you tell? But what we did is that, particularly for this date, what we did is actually we checked the temperature plots. Yeah. We took the temperature plots, and we also calculate the wind direction for, means as this was the sampling date, we checked for last 5 days, and we saw the wind direction also. So from the wind direction, we come to know like this is possibly an upwelling case. That is the reason the salinity was low here. So this was the explanation, and in summary, I would like to just reiterate what I said. So what we found was microplastic was present across all the sampling sites. The share of fibers and fragments were nearly the same. We found spatial and temporal distribution. And the main physical parameters which affects were the wind speed and its associated vertical mixing, and the riverine discharge and its advection. So that's all from my side. And thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I would like to answer them.
Time for one short question. We have one. Do we have questions? No? Thank you. Thank you.